Hey guys, this is Venice, and I've got a message from a friend of mine about my favorite podcast.
It's your boy, Flavor Flav in full effect. Check this out, everybody. I want y'all to go check out TJ.
What's good, everybody? TJ Johnson here for Voice from the Underground. I am the most handsome.
Big Has.
And I'm smoking my cigar, of course.
You know what I'm saying? The Dutch.
You pick me up in an Uber and a PT Cruiser, I'm calling Lyft.
Cause they be fighting the power, talking about social issues, politics, you know what I'm saying?
And we're not even that good.
Right, we're terrible. Terrible. Tangents all over the place.
And not only that, but they be keeping it fun with the sports, music, comics, and movies too.
Am I allowed to talk?
I think, no, not right now.
Shut up, colonizer!
You know what I'm saying? He on Twitter at VFU Podcast. Yo, you can find them. So check 1, 2. This is Flavor Flav. Yeah, boy.
Okay, what Flav was trying to say is, check out Voice from the Underground on your favorite podcast network.
Voice from the Underground.
This podcast is part of the Big Heads Media Podcast Network. Go to bigheadsmedia.com for more great podcasts.
Hey everyone, you're wasting time with Chris, Beth, and Matt. My name is Chris Williams. With me as always are
Beth Golpe.
and
Matt December.
how are you guys?
Great.
So great.
How are you?
I'm great.
We're all
I know, we're all great.
What are
What
the
are the
chances?
This is just great.
You know why? It's because this fall TV is coming back.
Fall TV is coming back.
Well,
yes.
it is back.
I wouldn't know that, Matt, because I don't have a television.
What happened to your TV?
Oh, as I said on every other podcast, my 7-year-old son smashed it.
With what? Oh, we threw a remote out.
The remote, yeah. 2nd year in a row he's done that.
Well,
The second TV he has destroyed.
that's a shame.
It's also a shame that no one's seen him in the last few weeks. And
Where is he? Did you murder your son?
I don't know. There's some vulture shot is flying around.
This is
not
not a
funny.
funny
That's not
joke.
funny.
This is a terrible joke.
My son is happy and at home right now. He's happy.
And is he alive?
Yes, you can't talk to him.
He's happy where he is. He's happy you're there. Sorry.
He is in a very good place right
Oh
now.
my gosh.
No, so I keep forgetting it's fall TV season, but then no, it gives you a little bit of structure now. Like your day's a little bit of structure.
I know, yeah. I wake up, I'm like, oh, it's Tuesday. I know what I'm doing today.
It's Tuesday. It's Brooklyn Nine-Nine night, which is Thursday. But
Oh my gosh.
Spend the whole day confused about what day it is.
Yeah.
I don't have cable, so I just watch everything streaming, which means I just watch it whenever I want to watch it. I'm not a slave to my television.
Like people are really missing out on appointment TV, you know, like with all the streaming, like remember how exciting it was? It was like, oh, Tuesday, Home Improvement's on tonight, guys.
That's so weird. I was going to use Tuesday Home Improvement as my example.
because that's what we all did.
I used to watch it with my parents.
It was
You
Tuesday or Friday TGIF.
Yeah,
Oh,
and you
man,
watch
yeah.
it, and then the next day at school, maybe you'd talk about it with your friends. Remember when Tim put too much power into the dishwasher?
You know what? Literally, I remember that was the very first episode too.
I do remember. I do.
Mates, gather up.
I rewired it.
Yeah, you can't wait to tell your friends about it.
Can you believe what Tim said to the neighbor?
Oh
Such
my
a
gosh.
rascal. No, but like that's one thing I kind of hate about binging. Even though I think we're going to talk about a bunch of binging stuff.
We
soon.
are, yes.
Like you remember, you used to be able to like spend a whole week talking about what happened last week on TV. Oh, what's going to happen next week? What do you think's going to happen?
Yeah.
But now you go to talk to someone. Well, I haven't got to that episode yet. Oh, I haven't watched that yet.
Yeah, we're gonna have a
Yeah,
couple.
that's
We're gonna have some
true.
instances of that
Yeah.
in this show. I bet.
Like the first
I
conversations
believe so.
I had with my wife, like when we were dating, our first phone calls and stuff were just largely discussing Lost. And what
Oh,
was
that's
gonna,
cute.
Yeah, and you know that wouldn't have happened. My kids wouldn't be born today. You know, had there not been.
Yeah, if you dated in a streaming world, I don't know how people date now.
Yeah, seems tough.
That's
Ew,
how,
could you imagine people being like, "Oh, I'm so behind on that. Oh, can we not talk about that much?"
I think that's all dating
it's so
is now.
weenie.
It's just two people sitting over drinks, going, "Have you seen? No, I'm not there. No, okay, no, I just really have too much binging to do."
Yeah.
Yeah, man, dating sucks.
Yeah, that's why if my husband dies, I'm never dating again.
That's fair.
Yeah. Not for me.
No, I agree.
Anyways.
So what else are we talking about?
That's been an episode of wasting time.
So we're gonna talk about a bunch of binging, I think, because it's my favorite episode.
Yeah!
Yes.
This is the episode where we all come in with a little bit of pop culture that we like, and we share it with the group.
Do we just all happen to have TV because everyone's excited about all the great TV?
I don't. I have a movie.
Oh, you do? Okay, cool.
Beth, why don't you start us off then?
Oh, I would love to start us off. So, I have actually been looking forward to this for a year. I want to say a year at least.
Yeah.
But my favorite has been The Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance on Netflix. It is a series that is based on the 1982 fantasy adventure Jim Henson classic, The Dark Crystal, which would you say is has a cult like following?
Yeah,
it's sort of like
fair.
I wouldn't say it's like a favorite amongst everyone, but people that like, if you meet someone that has like seen it and likes it, they really, really like it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Either that or you haven't seen it or don't know what I'm talking about. But, so it takes place in a fantasy universe called Thra, a planet called Thra. And, are you guys familiar with the Dark Crystal, the original story?
Vaguely. I haven't seen the movie since I was a kid because it scared me and I never had the interest in going back to watch it.
It is terrifying. I rewatched it before I watched The Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance, and it is not for kids, and neither is The Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance. I was actually kind of shocked that it showed up on my kid's profile. When
I want to talk about that. I read a review.
Do not let your children watch it.
I read a review that disagrees with that assessment.
Oh, well, I mean, I don't know. I think it's kind of scary.
The thing I read said, like, it's scary in a way, like, sometimes kids need to be scared. Like, was the point.
Ooh, this could be an
like
interesting conversation.
And the review I read basically said, it's a family-friendly show in that it has scares for kids. Like, kids are smarter and braver and tougher than I think we give them credit for. And a show like this is like, it scares them in a kind of a...
If we're talking about a 7 or an 8-year-old, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I think the review said like 7 and up seemed like they thought it was like safe.
I could definitely see a case for that. But when I'm turning on my kid's profile, it's like I'm looking for like Word Party and these very preschool age shows that my kids watch, and then like Dark Crystal pops up on their little scroll thing, and it's like, oh my gosh, no. It's but the 1982 movie is also pretty scary. Yeah. I really was into fantasy as a kid. I really liked the universe. I liked the the very distinct like yin and yang, bad and good parts of the show. I really liked the Gelflings, which are like the little elf fairy looking people,
almost slightly too human,
right?
You haven't seen any of it, have you, Chris?
I walked in when you guys were watching maybe the last 5 minutes of an episode.
So that's what you've seen?
Yeah.
So the puppets are very, like, they're not very obviously puppets, but, like, some of were they Gelflings?
Mm-hmm.
They have, like, some of their features are, like, kind of, like, almost too humanistic. Like, you can tell some of them have, like, actual, like, to me, what appears to be actual, like, human hair. And I'm like, ooh, that's so weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
So, I don't want to talk too much about the old movie, but, if you were a fan of that,
okay, go ahead, yeah, sorry.
Then Age of Resistance is for you. It has everything I liked. So I was super nervous about it because it's like something that you really adored from your childhood when you see it sort of being built upon as an adult and with the original creators no longer around, and you just never know what could happen. So then it was like starting to premiere abroad, and and some people had like screenings and whatever, and the reviews were really good. And I'm in like Age of Resistance like fan group that I would never post in because people are really like intense in there about their fandom, as people are But then everyone was loving it, and I finally felt like, okay, the day it came out, I watched the first episode. It's intense. Like after every episode, I feel exhausted. I can't watch more than one at a time.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because there's so much going on. And if you're really paying attention and like into the lore of it, it's like, whoa, what just happened? But artistically, it is so beautiful. I am so thrilled with how visually it is really kind of breathtaking.
Yeah.
I had read the graphic novel. Actually, I will look up the author. The Creation Myths graphic novel that, because in the original movie, it's just like Gelfling and, Skeksis, just like good, bad, right? The Skeksis are the bad guys. But in the Creation Myths, which is like the graphic novel, there's a series of graphic novels that came out before this show. They sort of talk about all the different like clans of Gelfling. And now I sound like a real big dork, but in this creation, in Age of Resistance, they get really into that. And it is so cool. It is just like everything that I was hoping for. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that if you're into fantasy, so this is a prequel to the Dark Crystal movie. And I actually think you're kind of in a better place if you hadn't seen the movie and you're watching this. Or if you don't really remember the movie, don't watch it.
Okay.
Because
I didn't watch it.
You sort of feel like you know how it ends. You know how this ends.
Yeah.
No,
that's fair.
It has really cool monsters. It has really cool characters. And the voice acting is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
Yes. We have Simon Pegg, Mark Hamill, Andy Samberg, Keegan-Michael Key, Awkwafina, Sigourney Weaver, Bill Hader.
I didn't know Bill Hader.
Yeah. So really, the voice acting is amazing. Helena Bonham Carter, and then, Lena Headey, right, from Game of Thrones, and then Alicia Vikander from Ex Machina, right? Mm-hmm. And then, gosh, who's the girl that, she played like Khaleesi's right hand.
Oh, I don't know.
She is one of the main characters. She is her, and, the main character in the series is Taron Egerton of Elton John movie /
Kingsman.
Yeah, Kingsman fame. Yeah. Anyways, the voice acting is really fantastic. The puppets are really cool. Yeah, the universe is really cool. Yeah. If you were like on the fence about it, I recommend checking it out, but it is not light viewing.
I only watched the first episode, and I would say it took me probably the first half of the episode to get like into it. Like the first 20 minutes, I was like, "Oh my god, this is so bizarre!" Like
it is very weird.
It's weird to watch puppets. Like it took me a little longer than I thought it would to like suspend my disbelief and like really just like watch it as like this story unfolding. Because for the first 20 minutes, I was like, "Oh my god, these puppets look almost kind of like people, but like they're very obviously puppets." And
I feel like they capture some of the 80s like magic with the puppets in a way that is kind of like hard to watch in 2019 because you're just not used to seeing it.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. So I only watched the first episode. They're an hour. I think they're all an hour long, right? There's 10 of them.
Yeah, it's long.
So it's a lot of TV. But I wasn't sure what to expect because, again, I don't really have great memories of the movie just because, like, again, it scared me when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. But so I don't really have any recollection of the story. So
I was kind of worried that all the reasons I liked it as a kid, which are that it is super weird in a lot of different ways and kind of like hard to watch. Like some stuff is so like gross or creepy crawly or whatever that I remember like it used to kind of turn my stomach or be hard to watch. And I'm like, man, this is so weird. It's so weird that this is for kids. I thought it might lose kind of. No, it's like 100% all in on everything that was weird about the movie is very weird about the show.
Yeah.
Only they've added this like tons of layers of like lore to this world, and it's really cool. And I think it is already slated for a second season.
I can see that. Yeah, it's there's a lot to mine there. It's pretty interesting little world there. I thought it might be a little like one note as far as like fantasy goes, but there's a lot of.
I haven't seen anyone have a problem with it. So, anyways, check it out.
I really want to see it. Like, here's I never saw the Dark Crystal movie, which is weird because I'm like a Jim Henson.
That's right, you're a big Jim Henson fan.
Yeah. I think I'm more of a Muppet fan.
But
I really like Jim Henson, and I don't know why I hadn't seen this, but I was cleaning out the house a few weeks ago, and I actually found that I have the Blu-ray of the Dark Crystal.
You do?
And I think what happened was I rented it from Netflix years ago, and I never sent it back in, and so they just charged me for it.
Really?
So I have it. I just haven't watched it because I don't have a TV. I mean, you guys, the 15 minutes or so that you guys were watching when I got here, probably less than that. Like, just watching the puppetry on that made me think I want to check the rest of this out on a really good TV screen.
Yeah.
Because that really looked amazing.
Yeah.
And I've heard
it's very spectacular. Yeah. Like visually, it's really cool.
Yeah. I'd like to see that. I will add that to my list.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
So that's the Dark Crystal. It's
yeah.
on Netflix, right?
It is.
Yeah.
Matt, why don't you go since you can break up the TV with a movie?
Is that okay with you, Chris?
I think that's fine with me.
Okay. So mine is the film It Chapter 2, the 2019 American supernatural horror film and sequel to the 2017 film It, both based on the 1986 novel by Stephen King. So this is obviously the second film in the series. This one stars the ensemble cast of Jessica Chastain, James McAvoy, Bill Hader, Isaiah Mustafa, Jay Ryan, James Ranson, Bill Skarsgård, etc.
I didn't know. Is that the same Skarsgård that played It?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
He plays Pennywise. So this is set in 2016. It's 27 years after the first film, and it follows the members of the Losers Club as they are kind of reuniting as adults to defeat Pennywise, who's returned to Derry after they kind of beat him at in the first film as kids. And so this film is very long. It's 169 minutes, but part of the reason for that is because it's covering the adult characters with the kids were so good in the first one, and it's pretty integral to the story that there's a lot of flashbacks that give more screen time to the kids. So it turns into kind of quite a lengthy film. I found not that it dragged or anything, but it just was a lot of horror, I guess. And so yeah, I saw it. I don't know, a couple weeks ago. Chris, you saw it, and Beth, you saw it.
I have not seen it, but I saw the first one and loved it. I just haven't made it to see the second one.
I really, really like the first one. Was a little more about this one. The performances are good. There's some good scares in it. There's some weird thing going on with the tone, the humor.
Yes, yeah, that's what I was going to talk about.
Yeah, I mean that's really kind of. I think I said this to Chris after I first saw it, that I read something that basically said you're going to enjoy this movie more as a drama / comedy about escaping childhood trauma than as as an actual horror movie. And I kind of agreed with that because the tone is some of the jokes are so jokey.
It's not a laugh to just release the tension. There are sequence I won't say anything to spoil for Beth. There is though a horror sequence that in the middle of playing out, they all of a sudden drop in the song. Oh shoot! What's the song?
Something about angels or
Angel of the Morning.
Yeah,
they somehow drop it in. There's no reason for it, and it makes the whole scene play as a joke.
Yeah,
and it's really weird. I don't even want to say it's bad. It's just it really is an odd choice. There's also near the end when you think this movie needs to get really intense. There's a whole sequence that plays as just a gag.
Yeah, it's a really
it's
weird.
It's an odd tone.
I am really excited to see Bill Hader do something dramatic.
Yeah,
he's really good.
He's really good in it. Yeah, I mean the whole cast is really good, but he's very good.
I'm on a major kick right now with Barry finishing up, and I'm like, give me more.
I think he does really well. You knew the funny stuff would work.
Mm-hmm.
But he has a lot of emotional stuff that they give him, and he handles that really well too. Like, I think he's the best performance in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't go too broad with the humor. There is James Ransom. He plays Eddie, I think, and I might be wrong. No, he plays Eddie. He plays Eddie because Bill Hader's Richie.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And James Ransom plays it almost like a comedy. Like, his whole performance is very big comedy.
Yeah.
And it's really odd. I mean, you said you liked it, Matt?
I did like it. I did like it. I don't know what to say. I don't know what... I mean, I don't know what to say about it. Like, if they did this, I might have liked it more. I might have liked it less. Like, I liked it. I think that, I thought... I really liked the first one because... I thought that I thought the kids were really good, but I thought that the horror was,
I was just
really
going to ask
fun.
what the scare quality was.
Not as scary.
Not as scary. Like,
that first one was good scary.
It's
like
not,
good scares.
It's not as scary, but I think it's the gore is a little bit gnarlier in this one.
Yeah,
it's a little more intense.
A little more, yeah.
You know what I wanted to ask you too, Chris, specifically is if the book. There's only one book, right? Does it cover both of these movies? The one book?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I liked it. I actually would be obviously hard to sit down and watch in one sitting, but I know there's some discussion about some kind of a director's cut, or a extended super cut that kind of combines both movies, recuts them. So I think it's supposed to be closer to the way the book plays out, or at least in terms of the pacing,
I would be interested. I had a really weird experience with this movie, and I saw it, and I think I was still pretty mixed when I walked out, and I think my review is pretty mixed on it.
Mm-hmm.
But then I started talking with some other friends who had seen it on Twitter, and we started going back and forth, and it really I started to think, I might have been way too kind on this. I can see that, and I think the problem, and this is why I want to see that longer cut, is. They made It Chapter 1 without committing to It Chapter 2.
Right, yeah.
And so suddenly, It Chapter 1's a hit. Now we got to write a sequel, and we've got to figure out how we're going to structure this and everything. And they try and do too much, and I think it gets really repetitive.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's basically 3 big sections to this movie, which is get the team back together. They all go on a quest. They go out and do this. And it's just, it's similar scenes over and over that I think...
And it's very similar, I think, structurally to some... I haven't seen the first It in a while, but I feel like some of it's similarly structured in that, you get the group pulled separately and they're going through their own individual scares. And I seem to recall a very similar thing happening in the first one. Now What's-His-Face is in the library and he gets scared.
Yeah.
And now the other kid he's in the church and he gets scared. It's a very similar structurally in the second movie in the way that those scares happen. So so part of it is they're way less. I found those parts way less scary. I didn't really find them scary at all.
It's also not as scary when it's adults.
Yeah,
I think when it's kids, it's scarier.
Yeah,
but there's a lot I still liked, which is weird.
There was a lot I liked.
I think it works as a drama too, in the idea that. Of dealing with past trauma, and that you can't things that happen in your childhood will continue to define you into adulthood, which is a huge part of the book.
Yeah,
it's just it's a messy movie. I don't even want to say it's bad. It's just a mess.
Yeah, I think it's messy. I think probably oddly one of the when I saw it with Sarah and the first 20 minutes has some real life scary things going on violence against a gay couple and
that's
spousal some
very hard to watch.
Yeah, some and then right after that there's some spousal abuse things and those are those were uncomfortable. I did not enjoy those. Afterwards Sarah was boy, that first 20 minutes I thought we might just I'm I don't know if I can watch this movie. And then then the supernatural horror stuff starts and it feels way less the stakes are way lower because I don't know, it's not real. So
it turns into a fun house.
Yeah, then exactly.
Yeah, and I don't think they do a good job. The first movie did a really good job of setting the stage that because of it, Derry was kind of this poisoned place, which I think is in the book. They're trying to say like these horrible things, like the horrible, the crime against the gay couple at the beginning is kind of implied in the book because Derry is just dark and poisoned and everything. But I don't think they make that point in the movie very
No,
well.
not at all. No,
and it's just almost just ladled on like unnecessary suffering.
Yeah, yeah.
So wait, that stuff is not like committed by the supernatural, like
no, it's like
Pennywise,
human, like human on human violence. It's very like
that's kind of lame.
Yeah. But otherwise, I don't know. I liked it. I guess I went like if you like the first one.
Obviously, it's your favorite.
Yeah. Yeah. I just like Bill Hader so much. You know?
Bill Hader
is the best. Yeah. I've heard such good things.
Jessica Chastain's really good in it too.
She's good. And James McAvoy's good.
The one that kept cracking me up was Isaiah Mustafa.
Oh yeah,
who's good in it. He has Mike.
Yeah,
but it clicked about halfway through. I'm like, where have I seen this guy before? Right. He's the Old Spice guy.
Yes,
so he'd say stuff like,
"Oh, that's funny."
I'm at the library, and all I'm thinking is, I'm on a horse.
Yeah.
That's funny.
That's funny. That's very funny.
I am very excited to see it, hopefully on demand, in October, towards the end of the month when I can get a nice little Halloween. Yeah. I watched the first one. My sister came over and we got my kids Halloween candy. I remember it being pretty close after Halloween because we could go through their candy and we just ate Halloween candy and watched it. And it was I was surprised how much I liked it, and I got to kind of watch it with my sister in my pajamas. So that's how I want to watch the second one too. Yeah.
My son is going through this phase right now where I don't know where he's hearing it. Like they must talk about it at school, but he's obsessed with Pennywise all of a sudden.
Really?
Oh,
we were driving down the street, we passed a Halloween store, and he's like, "Dad, that's Pennywise." I'm like, "How do you know? You shouldn't know who Pennywise is."
Yeah.
So, he keeps asking if he can see it. I'm like, dude, you gotta
Oh my gosh.
You got another
it's
5 years at least, 6 years at least.
You'd need 5 or 6 years of therapy after you saw that.
But maybe I will call, there's a documentary coming out about this clown in Florida called Wrinkles the Clown.
Oh, yeah.
He's this old man who dresses in a scary clown costume. And parents actually hire him to hide in their kids' rooms if their kids have misbehaved.
That's
to teach
terrible.
Their kids a lesson. So maybe I'll give old Wrinkles a call.
Is that an actual documentary or is that like a mockumentary?
It's an actual documentary. There's actually articles out from 4 years ago about this guy.
So I've seen that, but I read something that I thought I read not necessarily a review, but an article about this documentary, quote unquote, that made it sound like there's more, that it's not just a straight documentary. That's why I asked. The thing I read made it sound like it's like a horror mockumentary, it blurs the
Oh really? That would be interesting to see. I haven't heard. I haven't read any reviews.
Okay, I read that a couple weeks ago when I saw
now that sounds kind of intriguing.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd be curious to see. Yeah.
Can I tell a funny clown story? Because I just heard one this week. Now that we're talking about clowns.
Yeah.
So in New Zealand, you're allowed to bring a family member or a comfort, or what do they call it? Like a companion if you're going to get fired.
Mm-hmm.
I know this story. Yes, I know what you're saying. Yes.
And so a guy hired a clown to come to his meeting with him, and he was miming crying and making.
He was making balloon
animals and stuff. Oh, anyways, I thought that was hilarious.
Really
it had me really cracking up.
So it was Australia?
New Zealand.
New Zealand? Those goofy boys.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny.
That's our favorite clowns.
That's our favorite clowns. Yeah.
Clowns. So I am excited to see it in October in my pajamas, I hope.
Yeah, you should watch it. You might like it.
It's not bad. My favorite this month is one that I think is really good. It is the Amazon Prime series Undone. This is from Kate Purdy and Raphael Bob Waksberg. They are behind BoJack Horseman, which I think is one of the best shows on TV.
Oh, that's right, they are, yeah.
And but it is nothing like BoJack Horseman, except in terms of quality. It is an animated series about a young woman named Alma who lives in San Antonio. She's kind of dealing with some issues in her life. She's got some issues with her family and her past. And she's involved in a car accident, at which point she wakes up and discovers she can kind of move through space and time. And she learns this first by being kind of in these time loops, but also because her dead father appears to her He's played by Bob Odenkirk.
Yeah.
And he asks her to help solve his murder and prevent it. And this is a 8-episode series. The episodes are short. They are between 20 and 25 minutes long. I have never seen a TV show like this. The animation is rotoscoped, which means it's actors acting out and then they're drawn over with the backgrounds added in later. So it can kind of slip into these real surreal settings and it goes back and forth through time and space. And it's just this really trippy show that it'll launch into lectures about physics and spirituality, and it kind of ties things into shamans and things like that. But it also is a show about mental illness, about family trauma, about relationships between family. It's a fascinating show. I'm kind of being really coy getting into the plot because part of the fun is watching it all unfold and figuring out what this show is. But I think B, it is a show where, to me, the plot didn't matter. It is a show that's really all about these characters and their relationships with each other and asks you to kind of question what's real, what's not, and it doesn't give you easy answers. Rosa Salazar from Alita is the main actress, and she is really good. She's
very good, yeah.
She just has this kind of natural. She's just really natural in the emotional scenes, especially. I really liked her relationship with Siddharth Dhanaje. He plays Sam, her boyfriend, and they have a really sweet relationship as the show goes on. Her relationship with her mother, played by Constance Marie, and her sister, played by Angelique Cabral. Those are both actually really unique to watch on TV. The dynamics are really good. And I always just like Bob Odenkirk when he shows up in anything.
He's the best, yeah.
I really like this show. It's definitely, though, a show where I feel like I can tell you it's great. You should watch it, and I should not tell you any more about it because it's just so fun to watch it.
I would agree
evolve.
with that.
Matt, I know you finished it.
Yep.
Beth, how far did you get?
I'm halfway through.
Okay.
Because I got real sucked into the Dark Crystal, and then I only have about an hour a night for TV, so... but I watched 4 episodes, and stayed up late watching. I watched all 4 in one night, which is saying a lot because usually I'm pretty much like, well, that's me, time to go to bed.
Yeah.
But I couldn't stop watching it. I really thought it was super good. My husband actually turned it on, and I was like, oh, I've heard about this. Yeah. And I wasn't planning on watching it. He ended up immediately being like, I don't like this. And then he fell asleep. And then I stayed up watching it. Like, he fell asleep on the couch next to me. And I ended up watching 4 episodes and being like, no, it's really good. Like, it's good. I like it a lot. And I actually don't care for that kind of animation like that. I remember when Scanner Darkly came out.
Okay.
And I was so hyped up, and I didn't care for that. And I don't really like this. But it really is, the story is good enough and the acting is good enough. And actually, the relationship between the 2 sisters is so real to me. I have a sister who I'm very close in age with, and it just makes me sit back and go like, man, sisters have there's so many layers and complications to a relationship with siblings who are that close in age that it just makes me think like, man, it's one of those shows that makes me sit back and think like, you know what? Life is so gray. Like, it's like all these characters are like, they're kind of annoying, but then they're very raw and very real. Do you know what I mean? It's hard to describe, but I like them all.
Yeah, I like the
families are complicated.
Yes. I like the way it kind of deals with the idea of possibly someone having this spiritual gift or this ability to do something mystical. But you also don't know, maybe it's mental illness. But if they had this power, wouldn't that look like mental illness to people who don't have this power? And
yes,
she might be talking to her dead father, which seems weird. But her mom is praying to the Virgin Mary, and is that any less weird?
Right.
Yeah, it's good. Matt, what did you think? Because I know we've talked about it a little bit online.
I liked it a lot. I thought it was very good. I'm not sure how. Yeah, I don't. It's hard for me to talk about it without talking about the plot, honestly.
Yeah. I wish Bob Odenkirk would do audiobooks.
I do like.
I
his
would
voice.
listen to an audiobook by him.
I like his voice.
I love
like
his voice.
Mm-hmm.
It's like him to do my Alexa.
Oh, that would be nice.
I know Samuel L. Jackson's going to do Alexa, but
give me Bob Odenkirk.
Yeah,
I like it. I thought. I'm trying to think of really. I don't really have anything new to say, other than no, I'm not going to say that either. I liked it. I think it's really worth watching. And I think you can get through. I got through it very quickly. I think I wasn't super thrilled about it. And even the first couple episodes, I was like, do I like this or not? And I ended up watching like 4 episodes the first night, and then 2 the next night, and then the last 2 the next night. Because I was like, I gotta see what's happening. I gotta see what's going on, you know?
I think that's a lot how I think it was like the 3rd or 4th episode I'm still asking, like, I don't even know what this show is.
Exactly, yeah. Mm-hmm. Like, what is going on?
And then it kind of starts to make sense. And it really gets to a point, though, where I loved it. I love the final episode. I really hope there's no season 2. Like, I really feel it's a show that would be ruined by a 2nd season.
Yes, I'll agree with that.
So, that is Undone. That is on Netflix right now. And if you like it, I highly recommend also checking out BoJack Horseman, which begins its final season October 25th on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And it's a great show. So you should watch BoJack Horseman. It's great. So that brings us to the end of our episode.
Wow.
Where are you guys at online?
I'm on Twitter. I'm at December.
I'm at unicornfood.com. YOUNICORN food.com. All my socials are there. My blog.
Bloggy.
Mm-hmm. Chris?
Oh, sorry. I thought you were saying more.
No.
You can find me on Twitter at Mere Christianity. You can find me writing about film at MichiganSportsAndEntertainment.com. And you can listen to my other podcast, We're Watching Here. It comes out every other Friday wherever you get your podcasts. So we will be back next week. Thank you for listening.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thank you.
Watch Dark Crystal.